This is the story of the conspiracy that Dan Brown missed. More significant than the Da Vinci Code, it's a story that has been hidden for more than 2,000 years. It goes right back to the very beginnings of Christianity, and if true, could rock everything that Christians believe in. It's the story of the people who are closest to Jesus, the people who shared his bloodline. In this film, I will decode the Bible and other ancient texts to reveal for the first time the real story of Jesus' family. Because I believe that Jesus had brothers and sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles and nephews, a large extended family that existed for at least 300 years after his death and played a crucial role in the founding of Christianity. That their original message was too dangerous for the new religion, and that the official church stole their movement and then tried to delete them from the story. This is the oldest Bible in the world. It's over 1,600 years old, and it contains a complete version of the New Testament. It's the oldest complete record of Christianity's origins. The very founding words of the new religion are spoken by Jesus and his followers. For many people, it's literally the Word of God. But scattered throughout the pages of this book are some mystifying references to a group of people even closer to Jesus, his human family and his closest companions. But incredibly, they hardly get a mention at all. It's almost as if they didn't exist.
Is not this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother called Mary, and his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all of his sisters with us?
A multitude was sitting around him, and they told him, "Behold, your mother, your brothers, and your sisters are outside looking for you." And he answered them,
Since the tomb was close at hand, they laid Jesus there. Now, on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came early to the tomb while it was still dark.
This is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the holiest site in all of Christendom. It's the place where Jesus was crucified, entombed, and then rose from the dead. What happened here is absolutely crucial to all believing Christians, including myself. Without the resurrection, there is no Christianity. And the prime witness to this event, a woman, Mary Magdalene. The most famous conspiracy theories surrounding Jesus concern his relationship with Mary Magdalene. Trouble is, they are all wrong.
In the novel The Da Vinci Code of Dan Brown, Shirley Teabing is actually saying that the marriage of Jesus and Mary Magdalene is the greatest cover-up in human history. And I don't think that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married or that they had a daughter. But I do think that you can speak of a cover-up with reference to Mary Magdalene, because her importance to Christianity was diminished.
All the conspiracy theorists have missed the real story of Mary Magdalene. It has nothing to do with fanciful notions of her marrying Jesus or having his children. It's far more real and dangerous, so much so that the church has covered it up for 2,000 years.
Yes, I'm convinced that Mary Magdalene is the founder, well, next to Jesus, of course, of Christianity.
And if you examine the historical sources, the evidence is almost overwhelming. All four of the Gospels agree that Mary was at Jesus' crucifixion and death, and 3 of them have her as the first witness to the resurrection. Countless other 2nd and 3rd century sources cite her as Jesus' closest companion. But incredibly, in the rest of the Bible, she's hardly mentioned. By contrast, Peter and Paul, the two men who traditionally founded the church, are referred to hundreds of times.
I would say that she is more important than Peter and Paul. Her story has simply been downplayed because at the time it would not have been a great help for Christianity to preach their message, having to admit that they had it from a woman.
After Jesus' death, and as the new Christian movement was evolving, a conscious effort was made by the church fathers to marginalize and downplay Jesus' real family and close friends such as Mary. They just didn't fit the story that Peter, a man, founded the church, and Paul, another man, was its chief theologian. And in the case of Mary, her downfall was based on two things: power and sex. Just outside the walls of Jerusalem, near the Garden of Gethsemane, 31 Russian Orthodox nuns have dedicated their lives to honor the memory of Mary Magdalene. We're in a place geographically where we know Mary Magdalene would have walked and would have met with Jesus and the disciples. What does she mean to you?
Mary Magdalene is an excellent example of how a Christian should be. Bold, energetic, yet she's modest and, you know, soft, and the myrrh bearer. You know, she brought myrrh. She wanted to anoint Christ's, you know, body and, you know, make it sweet smelling. And, for example, so very feminine in her way, yet very strong and superior in another way in her faith.
I feel that one of the reasons Mary Magdalene hasn't received the respect is because of sexism, because people wanted to write her out of the story of Jesus because they were negative about women. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a possibility, but I also think, from an Orthodox point of view, from my experience, that her soul just went above the male-female thing. And I know that you're saying she has a really bad rap. And I agree with you, because I would want everybody to know about her, because by her example, the world would be a different place.
Just 200 years after Jesus' death, the church fathers began to undermine Mary's true status. They questioned her resurrection experience, claimed that she didn't believe in Jesus' divinity, and even suggested that her personal reputation was suspect. It was a time when women were still second-class citizens, and the church was teaching that anything to do with sex was bad. I think that Mary Magdalene has been downplayed by some of the writers within the New Testament. I think they've edited out some of the stories.
Well, as an Orthodox nun, the image I have of St. Mary Magdalene, equal to the apostles, is so intense and so righteous. I mean, just incredibly, you know, huge. I feel that she walks here because we honor her. And I feel any other person or writer